Hello everyone, this is Julien Deville from Yogi Graphics. So today we'll have a look on how to dissolve Suzanne with a kind of wind effect like that and particles. So I will show you this little trick and we will go through together. But first of all, it's Christmas, it's nearly Christmas, and for Christmas we want gifts. And gifts, it's here. So we have a complete training from beginner to pro. I did this very recently, so I made it in French first and I decided to make in English because it was a kind of success for the first one. And here, so you have 34 hours of videos really from beginner to pro. It's a really good training. You have the course content here. You can explore a little what we will discover together. There are a lot of things you can see: sculpt mode, the armature, simulations, compositing, a lot of things. So I give you a link into this video, and this link gives you the opportunity to have it for free for the first 150 people who will click on that link. You will have the opportunity to have it for free. And after the second link, it's already it's a good deal too. You will see. You just have a look on it. It's a really good deal for you. And like this, if you are a complete beginner and want to discover Blender, it's a very good opportunity. So don't hesitate to have a look and give evaluation if you like it. And anyway, first of all, let's have a look on our Blender, okay? And what we will do first is to, here I will just enable my screencast keys there, and if you want, yeah, thank you. So here are Blender from scratch. We will just remove everything, okay? And I will add a Suzanne, okay, a monkey. This Suzanne, we will have to think about what we will do a little, and I would like to make disappear my Suzanne progressively, and for that I will use just a Boolean modifier with a bool tool here add-on that I will show you after. But for make a good Boolean with objects, you really have to be careful of little things inside your object. So first of all, if I go in edit mode, you can notice that if I click on R into this part and R into this part, okay, you can notice that it's this object has several parts into it, okay, several islands. So me, what I would like to make is an object with only one big island like this. It's always better for any Boolean operation after. So if you want something stable, be careful of that, and we call it have a manifold object. So okay, for now we don't have a manifold object. So if I select nothing in my object and do Ctrl Alt Shift M, you can see that into wireframe mode that we have some vertices that are selected. These vertices show us the edges that are not non-manifold, so it's kind of holes that we have to fill. And what I will do for that, I will separate objects and I will just select my eyes and put it into an object like with P, and I will separate my selection, okay? And like this, now I have two objects, my eyes and my head. And what I will do now, I will just go back into my head and select the vertices with Ctrl Alt Shift M, so non-manifold, and now I just have to do F and I will have an object manifold. But you will tell me, yeah, but I would like to have my eyes too into my object. Okay, so I will do the same for the eyes and do a manifold object again, Ctrl Alt Shift M and F again. Okay, like this I fill with a new face into inside this object. So to show you what we did before, here we didn't have that face, and this is why it's important, okay? And now we can make a proper Boolean operation. We can see that here we will have a kind of effect that it's not really what we want, but we can resolve that after. And first of all, so I select my object here eyes, then my object head, so multiple selection, and then I can go to my bool tools. And bool tools, you will find it. If you don't have it enabled by default, enable this add-on. Is a really good add-on. So I go there into my user preferences and go into add-ons and search bool. Okay, and I will find bool tool. So I just enable this this add-on now, and I save user settings. Like this, it will always be there, and like it's a very good add-on to use. It's always interesting to have it. And now I just select my eyes, then my head, and then I just do a Control Shift plus. Okay, and with the bool tool here, we could just come back here, and if I want to use the bool tool there, I just use auto boolean here, and I use a union, and you can see the shortcut is Shift Control numpad plus. So it's exactly what I did, and I'm happy with that. But what we will see is that we have some little vertices here. Control Shift plus. Okay, so what we will see is that we have little vertices here that are a little strange, and that we will have to manage. Okay, if not, it will can make things complicated after with our boolean things. So what I will do, I will just clean a little this, and for see a little what I do, I just select everything and Control V, remove doubles first. Okay, so I did remove 2, that's good. And now I will dissolve these vertices that I really don't want. So for example, I will just select everything and just dissolve these vertices. Okay, and then after with the knife tool with a K, I can just create a link back, and it will be exactly what we want. And we will do the same for these vertices as well. They are not very good. Okay, so we will dissolve these vertices as well, and do the same here. So we have a few there. Okay, I will select just that, dissolve it, and then put it back with a knife. Okay, we have other possibilities to make really clean mesh into our Suzanne, but really it's what we will use now. Okay, and dissolve vertice again. Okay, and now I have everything clean. I select everything, Control Maj Alt M, and if I have nothing selected, it's that my mesh is clean. So now my mesh is manifold, and if I click on R, if I make R on it, you can see that I only have one island of vertices, and this is what I want. Okay, so now I will just go into my orthographic view to see a little better what I do, and I will go into my here modifier stack, and I will add a modifier first. This modifier will be a subdivision surface. Okay, for now nothing really incredible. Okay, we just click smooth there, and we will just put the render at 1. And now what I would like is put my Suzanne on the ground. So I will just make a rotation. So here I'm in the side view, so with the numpad 3, sorry, I made a little rotation like that, and I will put my Suzanne on the ground directly. I can zoom on it to see precisely what I do. Okay, and now we have our Suzanne ready to be dissolved. And what we will do for that, we will add a cube. Okay, I do Alt G and put it there and scale it a little like this. It's big enough to put Suzanne inside. Okay, and it will be this cube that will make disappear our Suzanne. And for that, we will just animate that cube and put it with a brush boolean like that. So first of all, I will put my object, then my Suzanne, and select both, multiple selection, and I will add here a brush boolean, and this brush boolean will be a difference, okay? And this difference, you can see that now, if I move this, my Suzanne will disappear, okay? Let's say I'm happy with that. So it will be the process to make disappear Suzanne first, and after we will talk about the particles. So first of all, I will just animate that, and for that I will just animate it from the first frame into the frame 150, let's say, okay? And so I will insert just a key of location and rotation, so it will be a lock rot, okay? And then I will go into the frame 150 and I will just maybe put it there. Like this, Suzanne did disappear totally, okay? And I insert a lock rot key. You will tell me what is the rotation key, because if you see now the result, so first we have a first problem. This is okay, but our Suzanne disappear with a totally flat surface here. That it's a little strange, and it's not really what we want. Our purpose will be to have something that is not really totally straight there with little faces like that. So what we can do here to help for that is just to go into edit mode, into our cube, then select this face here and subdivide it, and we will subdivide it a few times like that, and let's say we are happy with that, we have enough now. And then after we will just select a few vertices, like let's say 5 vertices like that, just really something random, okay? And I will use here my proportional editing there to have a random here and use that to make a kind of random shape. So now I just do a GZ and I will have a random shape. As you can see, you can manage it with the scroll of your mouse too while you are doing this, but only with that, like this, I don't have a completely flat surface, and it will be more interesting now. As you can see, I have more things interesting there. What I can do too is smooth my object to have something smooth into the surface of Suzanne, okay? And now I can even put a little rotation on it. So for example, I will keep this key like that, but just here I will go there and put a rotation into the z-axis of 180 degrees and insert a lock rot key again. So like this, my object will rotate and it will make more randomness, okay, when Suzanne will disappear. So interesting way to do this stuff, okay? And now we have our Suzanne and we are our object that makes disappear Suzanne. But what we want now is to have an object that will emit particles only into the surface created there. So for example, you see the new surface that my object created, and I would like my particles emit only from here. So not from Suzanne completely, but only from this place here. And what I do for this stuff is just I enable a new layer, and for that I select my boss object and I do a duplication with Shift D. Right click to keep it in the same place and then put it in another layer, okay? So we will call this Suzanne, we will keep it as Suzanne, okay? This first cube, okay, we keep it like that, but the next Suzanne here will be Suzanne particle, okay? Like this, it will be easier to understand it. And the next one will be slice, because we will slice Suzanne with that, okay? And how to make a slice, because the goal will be to make a slice that is thin enough to emit particles only. Okay, so what we will do for that, we will just create from this object a new object. So we will go into edit mode and in front view into the Z with the Z wireframe mode here. We select everything there and just with Shift D into the Z axis we make a little duplication of this here. So like this we have a space between the first and the second here. And now I can just extrude it into the Z axis again and then scale it into the Z axis without any proportional editing, and I will scale it at 0. Like this I have something completely flat. And now what I will do, I will just select here my object, and when it will animate, as you can see I have only a slice of my Suzanne, and this is this that we will use to emit our particles. Okay, and so this little object will emit particles, and like this we will have the feeling that it's only from the top of Suzanne, so only from this part here. Okay, so what we will do, we will start to create our particles and wind. So for that I will just go into my object Suzanne particle and I will go there into my particles manager here. I will enable a new particle system and put it there, call it sand, let's say sand. Okay, and let's say sand again. Good, we will keep maybe, I don't know, 5000 just to simulate in the beginning, and we will think where it will start, where it will end, and the lifetime of the particles first. So where it will start, so if we animate it and see a little, okay, it will start when the first part of my object appear, and you can see that it's, let's say, here. So it will be into that frame 45. So I will enable here and I will go start, it will start into that frame. Okay, and now I will continue and then go through until here, the last. Okay, and I see a little part of my geometry still, so I will say that it will be the last frame, and so it will be the frame 84. So it will start here and finish there. Okay, and like this I have already something that comes from the geometry. Good, but what we see is that we have these strange things appear there. It's not really what we want. It's because by default Blender doesn't understand that it comes from a modified mesh by modifiers with the bool tools. So you just have to use modifiers tag. And now if you do Alt A again, you will have something better. Okay, so it starts to be nice, but we have to think about how to make it beautiful with wind and how to make these particles feels like it's a kind of dust, sand, and so it's very light. So first of all, let's talk about gravity and emission. By default, Blender emits from the geometry and the normals here. So me, I don't want that. I want something that goes on the top like that, but not too far, not too strong. So what I will do, I will just go into here my normal and put it at 0. Okay, and then after I will go into my emitter here, my Z, and I will put in 0.5. like this it will go on the top a little. Okay, and I will have something slightly a little different, but not that much. And it's because we have a lot of gravity there. And me, I would like to put a gravity that is less strong, and by default the gravity here in Blender, you will find it here into this tab. So the gravity here in Blender, it's negative 9.8, so like the Earth's gravity, and we would like something really light, like -1. Okay, and like this we will have this effect that particles will stay a little and go down. Okay, good. We have something that starts to be good. And let's jump a little here and go back to our particles again. The lifetime of the particles will be 250, just in case. Like this we are sure that the lifetime is long enough to stay during all the process. And for that we are happy. Let's say we just want that it comes from the volume of the object, and put a little randomness into it, and let's say for that we are happy. We don't want to move anything else. Now we would like to have this kind of wind effect that we want, and for that it's easy. Let's go there, Shift C to put our cursor in the center, and let's go with Shift A and add a wind. We want some wind, we put some wind. And I will just do a rotation into the y-axis 90 degrees, like this. It has this direction, and I will manage here my wind with my strength values there. Okay, so you have the wind there, and I will put a strength. So let's have a look on how it looks now. Now we start to have a little wind, but clearly not enough. Okay, so let's put a strength at 8. Okay, and let's enable some noise too, something at maybe 5. Okay, and let's have a look now how it looks. It's far better. Okay, but what we can see too, it's that now our particles are really a little boring. We have the nice effect of particles like that, but the particles are very straight. Okay, and the motion of it is very straight. It's from here to there, and that's it. So nothing really interesting. You can see the shape of it is nothing really interesting into it. So we would like maybe a kind of wave effect into it that can make a nice motion. For that I will just add here 2 other effectors. So I will add the first one with Shift A, and this one will be a turbulence. Okay, so this turbulence I will just put it there like that. Oh, good. And this turbulent field I will put it strength at 5, let's say. Okay, noise at 5 too, and the size 0.4, not too big. And now let's go again and have a look. And let's see the motion, if it did change a little. So we have already something more dispersed and more interesting, but it's a little too much dispersed, and me, I would like something with more flow like that. And I will just simulate again, start from the beginning, do Alt A. Now it starts to be nice. I like this. Okay, these kind of shapes like that are really far more interesting than before. And I will use more or less the same technique with another turbulence. So I will duplicate it into the z-axis, like this, it's here. And the second one, I will just use almost the same settings. I will just put a size a little more little, and let's have a look on that. And now we have the motion that we want. Okay, so it's really this that we want. And now if we enable our first layer and come back into a normal view, we have this animation. It's exactly what we need. Okay, so what we have to do now, if we want to make a visualization of our particles and have something quite realistic, first of all, we will go into the third layer, okay, and I will add Shift A here, a mesh. It will be this mesh will be just here an icosphere with a subdivision at 1, so something very little, and I will have let's say 3 or 4 shapes like that. So I will just do this for the first one, and then I will duplicate it just a few times like that. Like this I have 4 different, and the first one will be with SZ value like that, and S like this, okay, a flat one. The second one here will be with SZ like that, and S, okay, another shape like that. And the last one will be just move a little there, move a little there, and move a little there, okay, something different. And now we have 4 shapes that are different that we will use for our particles. And so what I will do, I will select everything, just smooth everyone, and just go into a new material, just a diffuse with a kind of light sand color like that, okay. And I will just now make Ctrl R and make all materials the same for all the objects like this, the material is the same for all my objects, and I will just select everything and just do a Ctrl G. Like this, I have it in a new group, and this group I will call it sand. Good. Now we have our sand group, and we will come back into our particles. Here I will select my Suzanne, here, not Suzanne, Suzanne particle, and come back there. Like this I can go into my render tab there and select group, and this group will be sand, and we have our little sand here. That is beautiful, but we want something that is quite less big, maybe 0.008, something like that, and a random size like 0.4 to make size random. You can even use, if you want, physics rotation there to add some velocity dynamic if you want, but it's not something recommended when you have a lot after of particles, but it makes the effect better, okay. And after we have what we want for that. So me, for just visualization that I showed you in the beginning, I did use 100,000 particles here. So you can increase that, but it will not be real time. It will lag your computer, and it's totally normal. So if you want to make that with 100,000 like this, you can, but use here the cache here value, and you will bake all dynamics like this. It will save it into a cache somewhere, and like this you don't have to redo the simulation each time you open your file. And after, it's just a little light with HDR into your Suzanne, and enable the motion blur, okay, like that here. And I did put for this 0.4 value, okay. And after, you will have the good result. So me, just to finish, I just show you again here. Sorry, I come back with that. So here I did just put here a flat surface, so with a shadow catcher that we have into the Blender 2.79, okay, and thanks for that. And after, I did just put a background different than the light I have, and for that I will just show you this, how to make that. So I will just add a mesh here, a plane, and this plane I will scale it a little like this, and then scale it into the x-axis and move it like that, because we know that the particles will go there. I come back into a normal amount of particles. If not, my Blender will not be like it. So let's go back to 5000, something we can watch directly like that. So we see that our particles will go there and will make some shadow there. So this is what we want. And so this object, to just catch shadows, I will just go into my object settings there and into my cycle settings and enable shadow catcher. And now I have this Shift Z. So I have only my shadows there, and this is what I want. I can create a material into my Suzanne, and let's call it sand material. You can add a texture on it, but it's not the goal of this tutorial now. And after, if you just enable light, you can use Easy HDR. It's a very good add-on that I use very often to make my lighting with HDRI. So you can download this add-on from here. Okay, here Easy HDRI. So very good add-on. So you just download it, install it. It's a very good one to enable. And for your HDR, just go to HDRI Heaven. If you don't know this website, just go there. It's free. Thanks to Exile. I love your website. So okay, let's come back here. And what I will do, I will go into Easy HDRI, okay, and create a world node. Good. And I will go into the folder of my HDR. Okay, so let's go maybe there. I have just a few in that folder, but it will be enough. Okay, I accept that. And I will go with HDR. I will just use a collage management with Filmic that is far better to manage that, and with a high contrast value there. I liked it like that. And now I can choose my HDR light, maybe let's say that one, okay? And now we will have something good. I like that. I'm happy with that, but I don't want this background, especially in my camera view. I will put a camera somewhere, and let's say I want that view. So I want a control R0 there, and I will have that view. So it's something like that that we want. Let's say maybe just enable here a little lock camera to view and move it a little like that. Okay, and let's say we want a view like this. So now I come back there, but I don't want my background like this. Okay, so what I do, I just go into my node settings here. Node settings, here, good. And I go into my world, and here this is HDR, Easy HDR setup. So it's just a background with here all of these values, but it's not something really that complicated. You can have a look at it. And now you just have here to add a new shader, okay, and it will be a background again, but this time I will just enable Shift D like this, and this time we don't want a white value, we want here just a texture that will be a gradient texture there, and I will just Control Shift T with my Control T, that's it, with my node wrangler enable, okay, and like that I will have this mapping available. So I will look at it with Control Shift left click, and it's not a good rotation, so I will move the rotation into 90 degrees, and maybe after just put easing, okay, and we will plug into camera. Okay, and now we have this nice gradient effect. You can manage it after if you want to manage the colors with the converter color ramp here. Okay, and you can check your colors and manage it yourself. So if you want something with less dark values here, okay, you manage it like that, and with a sandy value here, and maybe this one will be darker, so you select this color and go back to the dark like this with more colors maybe. And after you can just manage it like that if you want more or less. Okay, I don't like this color. Okay, I would like something more like this. Maybe I will come back to my linear value. Good. Yeah, let's say something like that. Okay, and like this you have the background, but we don't want that lighting. We want the lighting of the other. We want the lighting of that one. And so to keep the light of that one and the background of that one, you just have to mix here the two shaders with a mix shader there, and we will add here an input, and it will be light path camera ray, and that's it. And now you have the light of the first and the background of the second, and this is what we want. You can check after and manage this easy HDR information. It's a really good add-on. So that's it for this video. After sorry guys, after you just come back to your Suzanne particles, you enable it at 100,000 if your computer can do it. You can bake all dynamics and start to render your animation like that. So enjoy this way of dissolve things with Blender.